Have you ever wondered how an entire nation can rise from the ashes of another? How can the history of one country be so closely intertwined with that of another yet diverge on such different paths? Today, we delve into the extraordinary story of Pakistan, a nation whose existence was carved out of a complex past and continues to be shaped by powerful forces. To truly understand Pakistan's history, we have to look beyond its official date of birth. We need to travel back in time beyond the fair lines drawn on maps to the heart of the Indian subcontinent. This is a land teeming with ancient civilizations, empires that rose and fell, and cultures that intermingled for millennia. The Indus Valley Civilization laid the foundations, its cities a testament to organized society. Over time, the region saw waves of migration, religious expansion, and the rise of empires, most notably the Mughals, who left an indelible mark on the landscape and culture that would eventually become Pakistan. The Mughals, a dynasty of Persian descent, embraced and promoted Islam. Their legacy, a breathtaking tapestry of architecture, art, and complex administration. These are the threads that form the warp and woof of the region's history, a history that even predates the rise of Islam in the subcontinent but would prove vital to the eventual formation of Pakistan. As Islam gained prominence in the subcontinent, a distinct Muslim identity began to emerge. It was not just a religion but a cultural and social force influencing art, education, and governance, while coexistence with other communities such as Hindus was generally practiced. Tensions occasionally arose. This is where Pakistan's story really begins to take shape. Think of it this way. A seed is planted, but it takes time, circumstance, and cultivation to grow. The initial seeds of Muslim consciousness were sown. Over centuries, as the British colonial period began, it added another layer of complexity. The arrival of the British brought a system that, while unifying the subcontinent politically, also exacerbated existing social and religious divisions. The British Raj was a period of economic exploitation, and this further inflamed pre-existing divisions as some groups felt marginalized compared to others. British policies inadvertently fueled the idea of separate political identities and the idea of a nation specifically for Muslims. And leaders such as Sir Syed Ahmed Khan worked to promote the idea of the importance of separate identity. As independence grew in demand, so did the movement for a separate state. And one man emerged to become its figurehead, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, initially an advocate of Hindu-Muslim unity. He gradually became the champion of a separate Muslim state. He believed that the political and economic interests of Muslims were not being adequately addressed within a unified India. The idea was controversial, and many disagreed with him, but the demand only grew more and more powerful. This period saw intense political maneuvering, rising communal tensions, and finally the irreversible drive towards partition, or as it became known, partition of the Indian subcontinent. The negotiations were fierce, the stakes immensely high, and the consequences catastrophic. On August 14, 1947, Pakistan was born, and the British Raj formally ended, but the reality of independence was far from celebratory. What followed was a period of immense upheaval known as partition. Millions of people were displaced in a mass migration, Hindus and Sikhs moving to India, Muslims traveling to Pakistan. The violence, the chaos, the loss of life, it is a scar that remains on India. And Pakistan to this day. Borders were drawn haphazardly. Communities were destroyed, and overnight, an estimated 10 to 20 million people became refugees. This was the birth of Pakistan, not a smooth birth, but a painful and traumatic one that left an indelible mark. How could a nation begin to heal after so much trauma? Pakistan's early years were turbulent. The newly formed nation faced immense challenges, from creating a government from scratch to integrating millions of refugees. Political instability plagued the country as leaders struggled to find common ground. The First Indo-Pakistani War over Kashmir erupted immediately, setting the tone for the decades that followed, marked by conflict and mistrust. Between the two nations, the country also struggled with internal divisions, with ethnic and linguistic differences creating a fractured society. The nation was barely a decade old when military leaders staged a coup, signaling the beginning of a prolonged period of military rule. How would this constant turmoil shape the nation's direction? Pakistan had to grapple with the weight of its history, the instability of its present, and the uncertainty of its future all at once. Pakistan's history took a tragic turn with the loss of its eastern wing, East Pakistan, separated by a vast geographical distance. From West Pakistan, East Pakistan, present-day Bangladesh, faced significant economic and political discrimination. The Bengali language movement played a key role, highlighting the cultural disparities between the two regions, with West Pakistan seeking to impose its language over that of the Bengalis. This culminated in a war in 1971, in which India intervened on behalf of the Bengalis, leading to East Pakistan becoming the independent nation of Bangladesh. The loss of East Pakistan was a devastating blow to Pakistan's identity and unity, forcing Pakistan to grapple with issues of national cohesion and the need to create an identity centered on a more unified front. This painful episode taught Pakistan a hard lesson about the importance of inclusion and equality. How would they learn from these mistakes? Pakistan found itself caught in the crossfire of the Cold War. The nation forged a close alliance with the United States, becoming a key player in the fight against Soviet influence in the region. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and subsequent American involvement led to further instability and the rise of extremist groups in Pakistan. This was a complicated era where alliances were made out of necessity, but the long-term consequences were immense. Pakistan also developed its own nuclear arsenal, further complicating its relationship with India and the international community. The consequences of these political decisions had a profound impact on Pakistan's society, economy, and future. This era cemented Pakistan's role in global politics, but at considerable risk and sacrifice.